Hi, Arcfieldweather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Thursday morning, August the 15th. We've reached the middle of the month of August, and we'll start off on the tropical scene. There's Hurricane Ernesto and a couple other trailing waves that we'll talk about as well here. Ernesto, at latest observation, had maximum sustained winds at 85 miles per hour, a Category 1 storm. It will undergo some more intensification over the next 24 to 48 hours or so, possibly reaching major hurricane status of a Category 3. It looks like it'll have its biggest impact on the island of Bermuda late Friday night and especially Saturday into Saturday night. And then the hurricane bypasses it to the north, probably does not weaken all that quickly as it interacts in a positive way, let's say, with an incoming upper level trough. Here's the latest satellite imagery view of these three separate tropical systems right now. Here is Ernesto, and this is kind of a combination of an infrared and visual satellite imagery loop here. Here is a very healthy looking Ernesto, again a Category 1 right now, could very well climb to Category 2 status within 6 to 12 hours or so, and maybe even Category 3 status after that. This little speck right here at the end of the cursor is the island of Bermuda. It gets its main impact late Friday night, Saturday, maybe even into Saturday night. Certainly hurricane status. May not be a major hurricane at that time. That may occur a little bit before it makes it to Bermuda in about 48 hours or so, but certainly hurricane conditions coming to Bermuda, again focused on the day Saturday. There's another wave out here that's starting to close in on the Caribbean Sea. These are the Windward, Leeward Islands here, and this is the Caribbean Sea right here. This continues to move west. A rather small system we'll certainly monitor. This is a larger system, something that we'll monitor also over the next several days. This just came off the west coast of Africa and is slowly moving to the west. So we have this system out here, another system here, and Hurricane Ernesto now past Puerto Rico. This is the island of Puerto Rico, out into the open, warm waters of the western Atlantic and on its way towards Bermuda. It will avoid hitting the U.S. East Coast. Well, here's the latest official forecast track by NOAA's National Hurricane Center. I generally agree with their positioning here of the hurricane and the magnitude as well. This M right here suggests a major hurricane status possible right in this area. And again, we talked about this during the last few videos, that once it passed Puerto Rico and before it hits Bermuda, that is the time period here for some rapid intensification out over the open, warm waters of the western Atlantic. Again, right now, Category 1, maximum sustained winds of 85 miles per hour or so. That'll certainly climb past 100 miles per hour or so shortly. Again, in the next 24 to 48 hours, it continues to intensify as it closes in on Bermuda. This is Bermuda right here, that red area. And again, its biggest impact comes late Friday night, Saturday, maybe even into Saturday night. And then it continues as a hurricane for quite a while, I believe. Even in the northern Atlantic, as it goes over colder and colder waters, it will have kind of a positive, a favorable feedback with that incoming upper level trough that we'll see in a moment here that swings in from the west. It'll keep it strong is what I'm saying here as a hurricane for several hours. This is Nova Scotia right here. Newfoundland up here stays as either a strong tropical storm or maybe even a hurricane all the way into the early part of next week, at which time it could have a direct impact on Newfoundland. By the way, it avoids completely the U.S. East Coast. However, certainly can be some rough surf, rip tides during the weekend, all the way to the coastline here, New Jersey, for example, Long Island, up across New England. So even though the center of Ernesto is well out to the east of the coastal region, watch out for riptides and rough surf both Saturday and Sunday anywhere along the eastern seaboard. Well, let's kind of move away from the tropics and get back to the continental U.S. This is the forecast map from last night's 0Z run of the GFS for the total precipitation amounts and total rainfall amounts over the next 10 days or so. Quite a decent amount across the Northeast, and certainly the middle and upper Mississippi Valley region can get a decent amount of rainfall. This is associated with Ernesto. Of course, significant rain right here. This little dot right here is Bermuda, and they will get pounded by this system, anywhere from maybe 10 to 20 inches of rain on the island of Bermuda. Right here we have what is typical of this time of the year, kind of a reflection of the monsoon season in the southwestern states, especially the Four Corners states here of New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, and Arizona, maybe even some of these monsoonal rains into the eastern and southern part of Nevada over the next 10 days or so. For the most part, California remains dry, and one of the few dry places across the nation over the next 10 days or so. Well, let's take a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly forecast maps. And we talked about the two upper level troughs that will have an impact on Ernesto. Here's the first upper level trough, and it is kind of helping to steer it to the north. It tends to leave it behind, and this second upper level trough we'll see intensifies over the next couple of days, and that ends up pretty much preventing it from ever making its way all the way to the New England coastline and interacts with Ernesto over the upcoming weekend. So let's move forward here. Again, these two upper level troughs playing a role in the ultimate path of Ernesto. This is the reflection at the 500 millibar level of Hurricane Ernesto. This is the island of Bermuda right here at the end of that arrow here. Now, we'll move into the early morning hours on Friday. Again, there's also a ridge of high pressure across southeastern Canada. This first trough kind of pulls it to the north, pulls it towards Bermuda, and then once it bypasses Bermuda, the influence of this second trough becomes more and more important here. This is now Saturday night forecast map. If not for this upper level trough, Ernesto could have made a turn to the northwest and could have closed in on New England, but indeed we have this not only an upper level trough, but a deepening upper level trough. And here we go, by the time we get to Sunday, it's starting to interact with Ernesto after it bypasses Bermuda. And again, I think it remains a hurricane for quite a while after it bypasses Bermuda, and partly as a result of the interaction with this upper level trough. Here we go. Now this is just deepening here by the end of the weekend, the early part of next week, and makes for inclement weather, unsettled weather in the mid-Atlantic region, the northeast U.S. this weekend and into the day on Monday. And that upper level trough then slides to the east by the time we get to early next week. And this is a Tuesday midday forecast map, and there will be a beautiful air mass for this time of the year across the Great Lakes to Midwest into the mid-Atlantic region. Very comfortable temperatures, probably the 50s at night for overnight lows in places like DC, Philadelphia, New York City. We're talking Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Very warm conditions out across the Rocky Mountain states with a strong upper level ridge. This ridge right here dominating the scene here out across the southwestern states. Again, this whole area here, especially focused on the Rocky Mountain states, quite a bit above normal temperatures early to middle part of next week. Now, let's go out a little bit farther in time rather quickly here, and we'll see here by the latter part of next week. This is a week from right now, next Thursday, another upper level trough showing up on the maps here, and it slides into the southeastern part of Canada by next Saturday. This is all the way out Saturday, August 24th. The main point I want to make here is, any of you longtime viewers of my videos here have heard me say plenty of times that look for a strong upper level ridge in the southeastern part of Canada for some tropical activity to make its way all the way into the southeastern U.S. We're not seeing that right now, but things could change, and I'm kind of looking ahead at that second, especially that third tropical wave that's now in the far, far eastern Atlantic. Not all that conducive for it to make its way to the southeast coast, but many, many days away. And this could change. We'll go out a little bit farther in time, and indeed, notice here, At this particular time, now we're all the way out past 10 days out here, upper level ridging does intensify over the southeastern part of Canada. So those are some of the upper level features we'll monitor over the next week or so. Well, let's wrap up with the surface forecast maps from last night's Zero-Z GFS model run. First of all, high pressure over the northeastern quadrant of the nation. Again, very comfortable conditions. By that I mean comfortable temperatures and low humidity values for the middle part of August. Can't complain at all. Here is Ernesto now past the island of Puerto Rico on its way towards Bermuda, which is located right here. And again, it will undergo some more intensification over the next 24 to 48 hours or so. We're very likely going from a Cat 1 to a Cat 2, and it may even go from a Cat 1 to a Cat 3. We categorize Cat 3, 4, and 5 as major hurricanes. So that could happen before it reaches the island of Bermuda. Now, let's go out a little bit farther in time. The weather certainly becomes more unsettled again during the upcoming weekend across the mid-Atlantic region. This is the Friday midday forecast map. Now, Ernesto down to a 965 millibar hurricane, very, very strong hurricane at this time, and 967 almost the time it starts to approach Bermuda. And again, the biggest impact on Bermuda late Friday night and Saturday. That upper level trough we talked about, the deepening upper level trough, slowly moves to the south and east across the Great Lakes into the mid-Atlantic region, and certainly will result in some shower and thunderstorm activity. We've had some dry weather in the mid-Atlantic region for the last few days. That all changes again, probably beginning late Friday night in places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, and certainly unsettled on both weekend days. And the rain could come down heavy at times this weekend in the mid-Atlantic region, Saturday and Sunday. This is a very cool air mass dropping in from the northwest and the southeast. Here we go into the day on Sunday. Now it's very slow movement of this system. It'll be mostly cloudy all weekend long across the eastern Great Lakes, eastern Ohio Valley, the mid-Atlantic region, again with that threat of showers and thunderstorms. And again, let me mention, while Ernesto stays way off the east coast, it certainly can have rough surf and rip tides both Saturday and Sunday anywhere off the east coast of the U.S. Here we go into the day on Sunday and Sunday night, and it really waits until a frontal passage finally comes on through here during the day on Monday to get out of the northeastern states. Here's a cold frontal system that finally makes its way to near the east coast by the time we get to midday, latter hours in the day on Monday. So still the threat of showers and thunderstorms on Monday, all with that deepening upper level trough. And then by the time we get into Tuesday of next week, just a spectacular air mass for this whole part of the country here. Very comfortable temperatures on Tuesday, August 20th. Very low humidity values. Comfortable air mass for this time of the year. And again, remember, this part of the nation will have a ridge, and this will be the hottest part of the nation here out across the Rocky Mountain states early, middle part of next week. There will be indeed some monsoonal moisture here in the southwestern states, especially focused on the Four Corners states. That's it for now. For ArcfieldWeather.com, this has been meteorologist Paul Dorian.